And I read PFF, much
Yeah.
maligned, but I still view them as an authority. If they lose, 33% to make the playoffs.
Yeah, 67% to miss.
Correct.
Yeah.
What's on the line for the Chiefs on Sunday?
It's a massive spot, but somehow it is less big for them than it would be for any other team in the exact same position. Like, if they are the 9 seed in the AFC, they are about to be 5 and 6 if they lose, and they lose a ton of tiebreakers against the teams they are chasing. Any other team, I think 31 of 32, in that exact spot, we'd all come in here on Monday and be like, well, the season's over.
Yeah.
Is anyone prepared to come in on Monday and say the season's over if they lose?
No, Wild's going to say they have a 33%. Wild's a slave to the numbers.
All right, fair enough.
I'm going to say they have a 15%.
Right, Brew has it down to 15%.
chance if they lose.
And I just think
and I get why it's the pedigree.
And I think that annoys a lot of people. And like Nick, as a Kansas City and a diehard fan, he makes the case eloquently and fervently and all of that. But like, it's totally reasonable. It's totally reasonable to say, like, the Chiefs could run the table. Like, they could beat the Texans and the Cowboys and the Chargers and the Broncos and the Titans and the Raiders. Like, that would not be ridiculous. And it would also not be ridiculous to say, like, if this was the Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champs, we'd say they're done.
But if the Chiefs lose, my argument is if they lose this game, it'll be 3 straight losses. It'll be at home. Your antenna couldn't be any higher if you're the Chiefs. You absolutely have to win this game. You had to win last week's game. The game before that was Buffalo, which is a rival. Like, this would be 3 straight losses where they were really, like, up for the games and lost. And I would just feel like they're not good enough to run the table anymore.
And I think that's totally fair. This, to me, is a tougher spot than the Broncos game. Like, the Broncos game.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I mean, listen, I know that game was in Denver, but the Chiefs were coming off of a bye.
Yeah. Right, absolutely.
And Andy Reid for forever is like, oh, Andy Reid with extra time to prepare. Mm-hmm. Not heading into a Super Bowl or heading into an opener, because that's equal time to prepare for both coaches. Andy Reid with extra time to prepare is the best coach in NFL history by a comfortable margin. And they lost that game. This is the inverse. This is the Colts have extra time to prepare for the Chiefs. Now, yes, it's at Arrowhead, and Arrowhead matters, but I do think home field advantage matters less than any time in the history of the NFL.
I think sure, but I still think it matters particularly against shaky quarterbacks. And so I think that part
Chiefs pass rush, though, is not what you would want it to be.
Right, which is why I think it's more helpful for them to be at home, because you do get, a little extra on the get off. But to your point about the extra time, it's also Lou Anarumo. Yep. Who has a lot of experience against Patrick, even if Shane Steichen does not. So the defensive side. So I think it would put the season on life support, and it would signal a real systemic issue with this year's team. So in that, if you have a real systemic issue, it's hard to then run the table, even if you have the talent to do it. So I think it would signal there is a ton on the line for the 2025 Kansas City Chiefs, and very, very little on the line for the Chiefs dynasty. And that's it seems like not this show, but the media has rushed to make the last 2 games a referendum on the Chiefs dynasty. And the reason I say the last 2 games is headed into the Buffalo game, the Chiefs were the Super Bowl favorites by a decent margin, and Mahomes was the MVP favorite by a decent margin. Now, they've played poorly in back-to-back games. One of them I was stone wrong about. I am not trying to act like the 2 games don't matter. It matters a lot for this year. But when we are 20-some days removed from, the Chiefs being the most likely team to win the Super Bowl, which would be their 4th in 7 years, and it would be their 6th appearance in the last 7 Super Bowls, to then be like, dynasty over if they have a down year, I think that's ludicrous. I do too. Like that
Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes could be together for the next decade.
Right.
Right. Like I know that people who with our jobs are saying that, but yeah, I put no validity in that.
I agree with that, and I agree because Brady had 10 years between Super Bowl victories.
Yep.
The San Antonio Spurs went years, you have these long dynasties, so it will remain to be seen. However, the fact that they're missing if they were to miss the playoffs, that's a little something. Like, I wouldn't agree with the people that said dynasty over, but I would understand why people are rushing to that, because it's not just they didn't make the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship game. They missed the playoffs. It's also that, okay, Kelsey, I don't know if he'll retire or not, but he's older.
Like it, right?
I think he's retiring.
Okay, so he'd be gone. They don't have they don't have a Tyreek Hill right now. Somebody has to emerge as that.
Right. Their best defensive player is on the other side of 30.
It might be a time to reshuffle, and you got the quarterback. There's a rebuild.
Totally fair. And again, if people want to say, like, the problem, their only comp for the Chiefs dynasty as far as longevity really is the Patriots. And if people believe the Patriots is one, I think you believe it's one dynasty.
I view it as one, but if you look at, like, the Cowboys. After the Cowboys won their third, you're not like the dynasty's still running.
No, well, here's the thing.
I just pulled that out of thin air.
You're right about that, but I think that, so the Cowboys won in 92, 93, and 95. And in 1996, they didn't even make the conference championship game. I don't think that the day after the end of their season in 96, people were like, Cowboys dynasty's over. It was, we then retroactively were like, oh yeah, it ended. Right. That's when it ended. The idea that missing the playoffs, the reason I brought up the Pats is, if folks believe it's one continuous run, there's 2 missed playoffs in that stretch, and one of them is smack dab in the middle of 3 Super Bowls. So, like, there's no real apples to apples comparison for these long, dynastic runs, so to speak. But to center it back down to this week, I do think that the 2025 Chiefs have a lot to prove. And I think that is what is also on the line, because they can, in my opinion, they have the lowest barrier of any team in the league to get right back to being the scariest team in football.
If they make the playoffs.
No, what I'm saying is, I think that on Sunday they could put out a performance that instantly makes them the AFC favorites again.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and so that if they on Sunday, if the deep ball is actually, instead of being 2 yards away from Xavier Worthy, it's hitting. If the 3rd and 12 blitzes that used to always work and have never worked this year comes again, you know what I mean? And
they beat the Colts like they beat the Ravens.
The Ravens,
all of a sudden, be saying again, okay.
And so I do think, so that's there. But the flip side is, if they lose, Danny, they will really have to. They will be a team that has won 5 times in 11 games that now needs to win 6 times in 6 games to make the postseason, which is incredibly difficult.
Very, very difficult to imagine, though obviously possible.
Yeah.
And you've conceded that them at 10 can't make it. I don't know that I would go that far.
I haven't said can't. I think it's highly unlikely at 10 if they make it.
I know the tiebreaker's tough. Just real quick, it felt like you bristled a little bit when I said, like, this would be a more shocking loss than the Broncos game. And I know, like, maybe for you, because you guaranteed the Broncos won or whatever, but, like, going into the Denver game, you had a higher opinion of the Colts than the Broncos, correct?
Yes.
So is the only thing that now makes this less impressive is because Denver beat Kansas City?
No, it's where it is, and then it's also the fact, I didn't think the Broncos game, if they lost, I didn't think it would be because Bo Nix made as many plays as he did, but I saw a path of it looking like the Super Bowl, not a blowout, where Mahomes was pressured, 55% of the time.
Yeah.
And I think that the Colts, I don't think the Colts defense can hold the Chiefs down the way I thought the Broncos defense maybe could.
I think this Colts offense is going to run, though.
They're going to run the ball. It's been a very long time since a running back beat the Chiefs. A running quarterback's beaten the Chiefs. Like, if you think back, like, it was honestly, the last one I remember was Derrick Henry with the Titans, where it was like, man, he just ran all over him.
Cook ran. Did he have? He had over
Cook had a
100
good
yards.
game, but again, I don't think we looked at that as like James Cook won him that
But
game.
even Saquon in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
didn't have
Saquon, and so they tend to sell out to stop your running back, sometimes at the expense of the back end.
This segment is also cool. Bills-Texans tonight. Last time they faced off, Josh Allen completed 9 passes. That's why I've got the Texans winning. Defensive battle, maybe. It's time now for stock up, stock down. You're not starting with the Bills, however, though.
No, we'll get to the Bills in just a bit, and we're starting with, I think, a recalibration on how we should talk about Shedeur Sanders. Expectations for Shedeur Sanders is a stock down moment. Shedeur Sanders should be compared to 5th-round draft picks or later making their first start in their rookie season. Those numbers right there are what they did in that game. They have a 19-36-1 record. They complete, on average, 51% of his passes, throw for 135 yards with a passer rating in the 50s. So much of the Shedeur Sanders conversation has bothered me because it's like we wanted him to be great. The media had him as maybe the top pick, and then the league told us he wasn't. So then there was a huge conspiracy, and then we still hold him to the standards of what we thought he should have been. No, let's hold him to the standards of 5th-round rookies making his debut. He doesn't have that high of a bar to clear those numbers.
Yeah, but the tough thing for him is that this could be his only shot, and,
Sure.
And so that Greg was talking earlier, 5th-round picks generally don't even get a chance to go out and show something. So the sad thing is that he could be bad as a rookie. Cam Ward's been bad. J.J. McCarthy in his second year has been bad. And people may write him off.
Yes.
One bad game, as a starter, and people may write him off.
But I guess what I'm saying is, like, those guys obviously are going to get more time because of where they were drafted. The names that I think we should be talking about Shedeur Sanders with, Brock Purdy would be on the very high end.
Well, he played well right away.
Skylar Thompson. Like guys like that level of
Tom Brady.
Well, that goes back a little further. But honestly, to me, that's where the expectation should be.
So I agree with you that's where the expectation should be. I agree with you that his name and cachet are part of the reason that, he has disproportionate expectations. But if we are going to talk about him like he is just a normal 5th-round pick, then we must also acknowledge, for a normal 5th-round pick, there is a decent chance this is the only start of his career in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that he is a lot of 5th-round picks, if they get a few opportunities as a rookie and perform below even 5th-round pick expectations, they're just not on a roster the next year.
Do you think he could lose, but just take sacks and just stand there and just look normal and lose, and that would be
Why
okay?
did you include take sacks? I didn't. What do you mean?
Take a sack in the pocket because against the Ravens,
you mean just
he's taking 15 yards.
Operationally, he's statuesque in the pocket.
Yeah, but just playing I just look like a normal quarterback that's on a bad team. Is that actually a win?
I think that, personally, I think that's fine. If he goes, I'm gonna make this up. 17 for 29 for $140, 1 touchdown, 1 pick in a 20-17 loss. It's like, okay, that's great.
That's right in line with what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
right in line with what I'm talking about.
It's like, okay, that's fine.
The TD to interception
Yeah, the
ratio
TD to
was
interception was not great. Yeah,
but still.
But I think that's fine. I think what he can't have is 3 or 4 plays that it looks like they should be playing yakety sax in the background when he's doing. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. It's like you just get
take
sacked
a 35-yard sack or try a play where while it's unfolding, it's like, oh my God, this is going to be and then it's just picked the other way. You know what I mean? A play that he's try and do something amazing. That's what'll kill him.
All right,
let's get to stock up here. Brew, I think you'll like this one. Lamar Jackson is about to go off. He leads the league in passer rating, and his next 4 opponents are against the Jets, Bengals, who he gets twice, and the Steelers, and that's what they do against the pass. So I think this is just a fun opportunity here to the Ravens' defense is rounding into form. the Ravens offense is coming off of one of the worst regular season games for Lamar in the last, 4 years? And now it's like, okay, I think there's not going to be, I will be very surprised if Lamar Jackson doesn't dominate the next month. And it's kind of the marriage of the Ravens offense and the Ravens defense.
I like what you're cooking. I like it a lot because you're right. The defense is rounded into form. And if there was one unit that had to play poorly, I would want it to be the offense because I have the confidence that they are going to get better because of Lamar and Derrick Henry's history. And so, yeah, I think you're right on the money.
So I would be very anxious about this. Three weeks ago, Lamar had a hurt hamstring. 2 weeks ago, he had a hurt knee. He now has a hurt ankle. We have seen him
full practice today.
Yes, full practice today. It's just like last week, right?
Yeah.
Missed Wednesday, then full practice. Yeah. He has not looked like pre-Chiefs game Lamar since he missed that time with the injury. And I think Solak pointed this out today. You know how many times he's running per game this year? 3.2. A career low by a mile. And so I'm not trying to get into a big picture Lamar discussion about Lamar as a passer, but I think one of the reasons he has the greatest passer rating in the history of professional football is because he has gotten better as a passer, but also because defenses have had to respect his running so much that he has more available areas to pass, and that's a testament to him. If the more games he plays refusing to run the ball, the harder it's going to be for him to pass. I think we saw a little bit of that last week, granted against a great defense. And so again, the Jets are the Jets, but I am anxious about that. What?
I got my eye on this game.
Another one.
I got my
There's
eye on it.
There's 13.5 pointers.
Jets,
I like this one more.
Jets, Patriots, everyone, a little
Tyrod's
Tyrod.
better than Fields.
Yes. Jets, Patriots, you're like, that game was close. A little bit of extra rest for the Jets.
Just because they played your boys tough don't mean they're going to play my boys tough.
Got my eye on it.
Got his eye on it. All right, last one to stop down. The Bills' rush defense, everyone knows it's been bad. That's what they've been giving up yards per game the last 5 times they've been out there. It would be if the Bills are going to, if they're SBob, my Super Bowl pick, it would be the second worst rush defense to ever win a Super Bowl. It's them and Peyton's Indianapolis Colts in 2006. So I am not ready to say that the Bills' rush defense is so bad that they can't win the Super Bowl, but it is a historic outlier in terms of how unproductive it's been, for lack of a better way to phrase it, that if they do, Josh would be overcoming something that only Peyton Manning was able to overcome.
That's a tough one for you.
I love Peyton Manning comps, you know that.
Yeah, that's right.
No, look, the hope if you're a Bills fan is just that defense can improve. But when you look in the playoffs, Danny, that's been their problem. So, and the defense has been good those years, and then in the playoffs didn't stack up. If that trend continues, it's going to be horrendous defense in the playoffs.
Correct.
KW?
I've been saying this.
Well, you've been saying a lot of things.
That's true. But I've had my eye on this defense.
Yeah.
This is
Willie Marks' breakout game tonight?
Ravens ran all over them. Tampa Bay, Josh did so well in that game. It's like
it got lost that Syracuse's own Sean Tucker had the game of his life.
They had like 220 yards. They scored 30-something points. I also have a little thing like Chiefs can't run the ball. Okay. And I think that was exposed in this game. There was one Achilles heel. You guys couldn't do it.
So that's what I was going to bring up in this regard. This is a horrifying stat if they have to play the Colts in the playoffs.
Yeah.
This is man, if we're going to have a weakness, I'm glad it's this one if you're playing the Chiefs in the playoffs. And maybe it's bad fortune for them that the year maybe they are matched up the best with the Chiefs is year the Chiefs, don't even make the playoffs. Who knows? But I don't think Kansas City can take advantage of this. I am certain the Colts could.
Yeah. Ravens.
The Ravens like week 1.
Yeah. The Ravens got it. much like Kansas City, the Ravens are 5-5 and out of the playoffs
They're
right
good.
now. I know you talk. I know the Ravens are all
They're
of
in
a
a
sudden.
different division.
I know the Ravens.
That's the saving grace.
Do we have any more
Division.
stock
No,
up, stock
straight.
down?
Oh, yeah, 2 down, 1 up.
I like that version a little better.
Happy Frenemies Thursday. We begin in Chicago, where Aaron Rodgers is going back to his home away from home of Soldier Field for the first time since he dominated it as a Packer. He was back practicing today, listed as limited, took a few days off for a wrist fracture. He was asked about being the villain going into this game and what his plans are heading back to Soldier Field.
Mr. Coach.
Mr. Coach Tomlin is a sign of respect,
Yeah.
and we cannot let bygones be bygones. That I'll just speak on behalf of the city of Chicago there, but you do not think Aaron Rodgers should play, and it would be a mistake.
Yeah, and I think you deep down agree with me. You just want a chance. You just want, for the final time the Bears play Aaron Rodgers, to get the win.
Point conceded.
Right, and I respect that, and I understand that. But for the Steelers, who are in the midst of a very taut playoff race, putting an inferior option out there at quarterback in this game would be lunacy. And Rodgers is better than Mason Rudolph.
We agree.
But not with a broken wrist, he's not. I can't believe that Rodgers was already a limiting factor because of how quickly he had to get the ball out, his lack of mobility at this point, and his allergy to getting hit, all of which is totally understandable. It's why 41-year-olds typically don't play. Now he's going to have a broken left wrist.
You talked about it earlier, comparing it to your broken wrist.
No, what I said was okay,
not.
Yeah, go ahead.
It is not the same. He was talking earlier about rehabbing it. Mm-hmm. You had a plate put in and surgery.
Yes.
This is not.
That's all true.
He does not have a full-on compound bone popping out broken wrist, man. Like he signed up to play professional football, and I think part of the reason, obviously he wants to win a Super Bowl, but he looked at the schedule and he was like, oh wow, we get to play the Packers, we get to play the Bears, and I get to play for Mike Tomlin. He wants to play. He understands that this was part of the reason why he came back for it. He has to play.
I know why he wants to, but the Pittsburgh Steelers don't exist to help Aaron Rodgers achieve his hopes and dreams. They exist to win football games. I understand that my injury is not his injury, and he plays pro football and I do not.
I'm glad.
But are you arguing that this injury will have no impact on how he plays?
No, I don't think we know how the impact it'll have.
Okay, so if you agree with me that, and if it has an impact,
it will have an impact.
Okay,
and it will be
that will
negative.
have an. Okay.
Yeah.
Then,
of course.
Then Mason Rudolph's the better option. The gap between Rodgers and Rudolph at this point is not great enough to put a hampered player out there.
Sometimes neither of these teams are winning a Super Bowl. The theater of Aaron Rodgers playing the Bears as an entertainment product for 3.5 hours is worth him giving it a shot. He knows it.
This is not the Nutcracker at Lincoln Center, which Danny's very excited to go to here very soon.
Love
his
you, man.
first New York City ballet.
First ballet period.
This is, and I understand that the Danny Parkins, I'm seeing the league clearly, eye test that also has a very clear list of teams that can and cannot win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, these two teams cannot.
And there are 8 divisions. 2 division leaders are playing each other on Sunday, and you've just decided they can't win the Super Bowl.
Do you disagree?
I disagree that they think that. I think that the Bears and Steelers are operating like we can win the Super Bowl.
Right.
And in that case, you have to start your best players.
Who do you think is going to play?
Listen.
Who do you think is going to play? Because I agree. They think they can win the Super Bowl. Yeah. And I think they are going to play Aaron Rodgers.
And I think it's a mistake. Right. We agree on all those things. You just don't hear, and this is what I said at the beginning. I think deep down, you also think it's a mistake, but it's what you want them to do.
It is absolutely what I want them to do because I love watching sports for just this Sunday. It doesn't have to all be about the future. And I think that they would not, I'm not saying they're going to make the decision because of the theater. I think that you can play through injuries that you and I cannot fathom.
No, I think you can play. If it were a pain tolerance thing, I would totally agree with you. And it is what he signed up for. I believe he is going to play the position in an untenable fashion. If he is told, listen, you can play, but if you land on that arm, you're done for the year, which might mean, by the way, your career's over, right? Like that, because this could be his final year. That he will play such a quick trigger, conservative style that you can't win that way. So that, I do think it's a mistake. And because I just don't think that you can play a 60-minute football game if you are operating as if I cannot get touched. That's what I think.
And he probably will get hit a little bit. And
Yes.
he has already been doing the quick trigger stuff, right?
Right, this is quicker. That's my point. He's already doing the quick trigger stuff, and his arm's broken. So it's got to be quicker, evidently.
I am totally comfortable with saying I just want to watch it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm totally comfortable
So
with
what
it. And so it's not a mistake because it's an entertainment product.
Okay.
To LA, the home of entertainment.
Oh,
You're
good transition.
Oh, don't be so surprised. Baker and the Bucks, they're trying to bounce back against Stafford and the Rams. Baker was asked about his feelings on this opposing quarterback, who's currently the MVP favorite, and their matchup ahead of the game on Sunday. What are the chances that your guy, the Bake Show, outplays Stafford?
I'm pretty decent. I mean, I wouldn't say better than 50-50. I think the Rams are rolling. The Bucks are still banged up. It's on the road. But I think Baker, over the prior to this year, over the previous 2 seasons, I think Baker's been as good as Stafford. And this year, I think this year Stafford's been the league MVP. He has 27 touchdowns, 2 picks. Nobody's been as good as Stafford this year. And I know that you're adamant that the Bucks are not a real team. They're on your list of teams that cannot win.
Yeah, I think they're a tier 2 team. They'll win the division, win double-digit games, and lose in the playoffs.
And so this was my preseason NFC Championship game pick. Now, that pick, in that pick, the game was in Tampa, because I thought Tampa would have 1 less loss than it currently has going into this week in the soft schedule at the end, and they could be the 1 seed.
Path to the 1 seed.
Right. In order to keep the path to the 1 seed open at all, they must win this game.
Oh, you think the 1 seed is still on the table for the Bucks?
Why? I mean, why? I guess why would it not be? Is my question. If they're 6-4, right?
Yeah.
If they win this game, they have the tiebreaker with the Rams, so they're a half game behind it, and you just need Philly to trip up.
You need Philly to trip up.
Yeah, and Philly doesn't have
them to basically.
But they will be huge favorite, not huge, but they'll be favored every game they play the rest of the way.
Sure.
I don't know if we can throw up Tampa's schedule or not. If not, it's not a big deal. But this was the really.
It's a very easy.
It's
schedule.
the easiest. Panthers a little better than we expected, but still, It's the softest final 6 games possible. So yeah, if they win this game, I think 13-4 is on the board, and that could be the 1 seed. And listen, I thought Baker played really well against Buffalo. Now, they ran the ball a ton, obviously, but he was not the reason they lost. Their defense was the reason they lost, and a Todd Bowles punt that I know you hated.
Oh.
4th and 3 in the 4th quarter when you haven't stopped Buffalo once all game. That was a punt I didn't like either, Danny. So I give him a 40% chance to outplay Matt Stafford.
See, the last couple of years they are similar. The last couple of weeks they have not been.
No.
And Tampa, and so I think that's like a more. That's a lagging indicator that matters more to me than the last couple of years.
And I don't mean to interrupt. Was this week 12? Week 11 in the NFL. Don't you think Baker was better than Stafford?
Last week?
Yeah. Stafford threw for like a $140 or something at the two.
The game script was weird, though, right? The Tampa's playing Buffalo in a shootout. Stafford's playing maybe the best defense in football coming off 4 interceptions. He had a 3-yard touchdown drive. He had a 25-yard touchdown. I think the game script, the opponents, I think that's a little bit of an outlier. So we can throw up the last 4 weeks of these guys, just like how they're trending in, because Baker did not against, the Saints. They won 23-3, didn't have to throw a lot. The Lions, it's just overwhelming there. And then you brought up Todd Bowles. This is an X's and O's thing that Todd Bowles, what's he known for?
Blitzing.
He blitzes a lot, right? Stafford this year against the blitz, man, he's been ridiculous.
So he is 20. So
I don't know why teams
blitzing him too much.
Yeah, correct.
He has 27 total touchdowns.
Correct. It blew my mind as well.
Yeah.
I think it's because he's not mobile, right? And there's still some questions about like, okay, it's quick throwing, whatever it is, but he has been so good against the blitz, and Devontae is so great as just getting open immediately. I don't think this is a good X's and O's matchup for Tampa to slow him down. And so I expect Stafford to have a monster.
So, well, listen, if Stafford has a monster, then Baker won't outplay him, because I don't think monster quarterback performances are right now available against the Rams defense.
That's right.
And
exactly.
so I agree with you in that regard. It's not going to be like Bills-Bucks, where both quarterbacks are just balling, because I think that the Rams defense is just flatly, demonstrably better than the Bills defense is. I guess I am counting on the Bucs defense doing a better job than you are. You're right about the blitzing, that it hasn't worked against Stafford. I didn't know he had 22 touchdowns against the blitz. Seems like an insane number.
Stop blitzing.
Listen, I think the Bucs are better than people are giving them credit for. I think that Josh Allen played an A triple plus game, and the ball's in Baker's hands, down 5 midway through the fourth quarter, and they have a chance to go steal it, and they don't. So I give Tampa a better chance than you do.
Josh Allen said he did not play that well in that game where he had 6 touchdowns.